things you own end up owning you.
Welcome back to the podcast, Cutie Pies. Today's guest is Tim Gray. Tim is a biohacker, an entrepreneur, and the founder of the Health Optimization Summit. He's a great English chap, and I had a great time talking to him about how he got into the health space, the difference between America and the rest of the world when it comes to biohacking, how he takes care of his own health, and his upcoming summit in June in London. Also, my friends, I just dropped some fresh merch on my website, ihateoatmilk.com, so do check that out. It's mostly for the boys, but sisters, if you're out there and you think I should do something for sisters in Christ, do let me know. Enjoy the show. So all this traveling you do, what's your favorite spot? What's the spot?
At the moment, the current one is Mallorca for sure, because it's a really nice island. It's cultural, it's warm, and it's super natural. Super natural.
Is it pretty touristic or kind of? Not really.
Summer months, yeah. But after season's ended, so in October onwards, it dies a death, and it's just like completely empty and natural, and but still warm. I love it. But yeah, I spend a lot of time in Croatia as well. Croatia's really nice.
Croatia's the spot, man. That's the fucking spot. I like that. Yeah, but you're not interested in coming over to the beautiful land of America? No, not interested.
America. Well, I before COVID, BC, I was in the US a lot actually, doing quite a lot of events, going to a lot of events and doing the usual thing. So it was nice to be there, but since COVID and all the craziness where everything's an overreaction to everything, I've kind of like not gone back over yet, but I'm going to be over probably end of January.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
Where are you going to
go to? See some friends, travel around, and I'm working on a project in the US as well.
Okay.
So yeah, but I'll talk about that another time.
All right, we'll be excited. So this whole, biohacker, whatever you want to call it, like you said, I take the piss out of it and make fun of it sometimes, but, it is a real space that probably needed to be created, for people, because it's just another way of saying healthy, I guess, or health these days, right? It's kind of just a new kind of word for modern people to say. I mean, so, as much as I make fun of it, I know that it's brings a lot of good to people, and but I'm curious how you got into it. How did you get started in all this? By accident?
Yeah, I kind of got ill. It must have been 11 or 12 years ago now. I just started getting ill. I was an entrepreneur running a couple of companies, getting up, eating crappy cereal, getting into the office, working through till late, getting home at 10 o'clock, eating some food, jumping into bed, getting wasted on the weekend. And I had burnout, the usual story. Then I got, IBS and bloating and kidney stones, and it just the system started breaking. Basically.
So nothing specific, nothing like you got diagnosed with some disease. It's just that you were just, feeling like shit, like a lot of people do, and just going on and this and that and this and that. But if you go to the doctor's just kind of like, you're fine. You're not gonna die. You're okay. Is that the story?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, they couldn't find anything wrong with me. It turned out I had mercury poisoning, like ridiculous levels of mercury.
Mercury poisoning? Were you eating a lot of fish back then, or what?
Yeah, I was living off of sushi, and I had metal fillings, like 7 metal fillings as well. So yeah, my levels were off the charts, and that has a massive impact on health, as you know. Fast forward like 3 or 4 years, I'd been popping loads of supplements, trying loads of things out. I was using forums. Biohacking really wasn't a thing yet properly. I think, according to Dave, the first biohacking conference was like 12 years ago. It wasn't really well known then. So I was relying on forums and what people were talking about, testing things. And then fast forward 4 or 5 years, I heard about hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Actually, Dave Asprey mentioned it on one of his podcasts. And it sounded too good to be true. So I tried it out, really liked it, but no one in London had it at the time. So I was commuting outside of London twice a week, and it was, taking 2 days a week out of my schedule, and I couldn't afford that time. So I started a clinic in central London, which grew very quickly.
So you had like an immediate reaction? I mean, you felt instantly better, or was it within Yeah, really?
Yeah. It was really good. Yeah. When I was in the chamber, I just felt mental clarity, and I hadn't had this for a long time, so it's quite weird. It's just like super ping, like I felt like I was present again. And I thought it might have been placebo, so I did it the same again, obviously. But that evening, my sleep was insane, like absolutely insane. It was almost like it took me out of sympathetic and put me into parasympathetic. Like I was completely relaxed. I slept really well. I felt amazing the next day. And over the next few days, I felt quite good. And then progressively, it kind of dropped off. And so it felt like, something was going on with my oxygen levels on a cellular level. And obviously hyperbaric, essentially dissolves more oxygen in the blood for your cells to use. So I was going twice a week, and I felt like, peak, great. Over a few days, it would come down again. Peak, great.
So sort of when you were feeling like shit, you'd kind of go down there, and then when you weren't, you'd just, you wouldn't. Yeah, exactly.
And it was just ping-ponging up and down. So that's why I opened a clinic, just so I could do it whenever I wanted. So I'd take an hour out most days. You stick the Post-it notes on the inside of the chamber and sit there and work or meditate or do whatever. So it became a really important part of my day and my life. And it helped me heal a lot of these issues while I was doing mercury chelation and, supporting my adrenals and various other things. So that's how I got into the biohacking space. And then 2017, I went to the Bulletproof Conference, biohack conference, whatever it was called at the time. And
was that one in LA? Was that one?
Yeah, Pasadena.
I think I might have been at that one too, man. I think we might have saw you there or some shit. I wonder. Yeah, Pasadena. Yeah. I think I was there way back in. So this is what year you said this was?
2017.
Yeah. That was the first one. Yeah. Didn't he have another one before then? No.
Yeah, he had many before that one. Yeah, I think.
Okay. I thought you were saying that was the first one. I think I might have been at the first or second. I just remember they kind of making it a big deal because it was the second or the first. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway. So you went down to Pasadena, yeah?
Yeah, it was awesome. I went with a group of us and then realised that, the biohacking space was much bigger than I'd realised because no one in England was doing it. So I came back to England, started a little meetup group called the Biohacker London Meetup Group, which grew to, 500 people quite quickly. And but the thing is, a lot of people didn't know what biohacking was at this point. There was kind of a big question mark over it. So I actually told my mum about it and said, I've got this meetup of 500 biohackers. And she said, what's a biohacker? And I was like, well, it's someone that uses data, supplements, whatnot to optimize their health. And she said, well, why don't you change the name? Or why don't you use something something to do with health? And I was a marketer at the time. And so I used health optimization and biohacker. And then we grew to 5,000 people almost within 6 weeks. It was just insane. And so anyway, the meetups kind of went, and we were doing it every 6-8 weeks in London. It was growing and growing and growing to where 400 people would turn up every month on a Sunday morning to come and have bulletproof coffee and hang out. So it grew very, very quick. And then people saying, well, why don't you do a conference like the Bulletproof Conference or something? So I decided to. Then I got to know Martin Tobias over at Upgrade Labs quite well. And he said, let's work together on this. So I reached out to Keith and Michelle over at PaleoFX at the time and said to them, look, Upgrade Labs, Martin wants to, work with me on this. I would like you involved as well, because then I feel like it's a good collaboration, bringing the best from America to the UK. And so we did. So we did the year one of the Health Optimization Summit, which we got 1,200 people to.
And what year was the first one?
2019.
Oh,
BC. So we had 1,200 people in year one, and we had actually Dave Asprey spoke, and John Gray, and some usual health speakers, really all of the top caliber. And obviously in the UK we don't get conferences like you do over in the States with this level of speakers, so it was quite a big deal.
Still seems to me that the whole biohacking field is still kind of dominated by the US, huh? What do you think that is? You think it's just because there's more sick people here, and because Europe is a little healthier in general? I mean, seriously though, right? Because you got into this field by getting sick. A lot of people get into this field by through getting sick, or maybe they were overweight and lost a bunch of weight, right? Or maybe they were underweight and gained some weight. So I feel like it's rarely that you meet a person that was like, oh, I've had the best health, the best genetics since day one, and I had a 6-pack at 12 years old, and I just got into this just by accident. It's kind of right? Well, it doesn't happen that way usually, eh?
No, it doesn't. I mean, there are odd exceptions, like Sim Land. I don't know if you follow Sim, but he's like he's bulletproof. He's like, I never got sick, and I just wanted to biohack.
Yeah. There are those guys for sure.
But no, I think partly it's about health, but also the US. Like, English people are weird, and I'm quite happy to be one of those. In that
finally,
form.
Somebody admits it.
And we're quite awkward and we're quite reserved. But the thing is, America's very pro marketing, pro 50 different colours of each kefir, 50 colours of every hairdryer. Whereas in England we have white and black, or we just have one variant or maybe two variants, and we don't really like being marketed to the same. And I think with biohacking, there does come this rich dude feeling to it, as in like all the PMF devices at 40k and the hyperbaric chamber at 25k minimum, and the whatever visor with flashy lights it is of the week. And and I think the UK people aren't quite so forefront and sold to so easy. So I think we do get the quality things over here, the things that are going to last, but we're just a bit more reluctant. So, for instance, when we look at our talk titles at the summit, I have to tone them down from the Americas to the UK, so that it's very, the benefit driven, not, best XYZ in the world coming to speak about blah blah blah. So there is an element of that as well. So I think biohacking is very markety, and I think no disrespect to Dave or the other biohackers, but they do promote quite heavily on a lot of different products with a different code of the day. And I think this is the sort of thing that doesn't really resonate with the UK and a lot of Europe, actually. Yeah. So I think for us, health optimization does what it says on the tin. It basically explains what it is. And when we did a survey on Oxford Street, before I did the first summit, because I was doing risk analysis, 94% of the time people said they wanted to optimize their health. 5% of people said a loved one. 1% of people were busy at the lunch break and just pushed us out of the way, versus biohacking, which is less than 0.1% of people that knew what it was, let alone wanting to biohack themselves. So I think, there's a marketing area of it and there's an understanding area of it. And, there's TV shows like Netflix talking about CRISPR and things like that, and biohacking, and the media saying, biohacker dies of taking too many supplements or whatever it may be, kind of like scares people away. But health optimization can't be, it's not ambiguous at all.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to a podcast, I can't remember which one it was, but somebody mentioned this thing in the UK. You have tall poppy syndrome, right? You ever heard that? No? You haven't heard that one?
Never heard of this.
It's this thing, I guess, that, maybe I'm wrong, but if you're the tall poppy, nobody wants to be the tall poppy, right? Everybody wants you to be evened out. I think it's a thing in the UK. That's what I've heard, at least, on this podcast that I was listening to, that it's like, you don't want to be the tall poppy that stands out, that's doing better than everybody, because nobody really likes that. Everybody's sort of like, ew, you don't want to be too driven. Yeah, you haven't heard that one.
No, I think Denmark and Scandinavia is a bit more like that, where they like the playing field to be quite level. For instance, there's ridiculous taxes if you have a sports car, like it's double the price of the car and things like this, to keep it, level. Yeah. But no, I've not heard of that.
See, there
before.
You go.
There's a lot of peacocking going on in London, I can tell you that.
London is it's expensive, eh? London is really expensive. It's been years since I've been there, man, but last time I was there, I remember thinking it's expensive. It must be even more expensive.
America's more expensive for us now, especially if you go to Erewhon. The conversion rate is like, I've had some very wealthy friends go to the States and they're like, damn, dude, it is insane pricing right now. And with the conversion rate, it's just scary.
It's expensive for us here right now, honestly, dude. Like, I was just at Erewhon yesterday, by the way. And I was looking at the price. Everything is $3, $4 more, just because. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I guess the COVID craziness was. How'd that wear off in England? By the way, was it? Yeah.
It dropped off the face of the cliff, kind of 4 months before. Yeah, it's just basically, no, that's it. You should wear a mask, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. We advise you that you do, but if you don't, we're not going to say anything about it and whatnot.
Did you have anybody yelling at you in England, or no? Like ever for not wearing one? No?
No, in Germany I did.
Oh yeah, those they're the worst. Yeah.
I was on a train in Germany.
Yeah.
In the peak of COVID, traveling, because I traveled pretty much through the whole thing. And there was one guy on my carriage, and he must have been 10 rows away,
facing
the other way. No joke, no exaggeration. And he kept on turning up, meerkatting around, and he'd be like,
"Oh, he was showing it to you, hey?"
I was like, I just ignored it.
Oh man, yeah, it was rough out here, man. I was walking down the street one time, and a lady walking on the opposite side of the sidewalk yelled at me, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" outside in the middle of the day. It's easy to kind of say that we're Monday morning quarterbacking, right? Because we're looking at this nonsense now because it's kind of past us. But even then, I thought it was crazy. Did you have the same feeling, or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. And the funny thing is I went through airport security in LA just before COVID, and I had EMF blocking underwear on from Get Lambs or the thing.
Ooh,
so when I went through security,
it
went bing 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 bing, and it showed the whole area of my groin area, completely like metal, and I went to turn my belt over so I could show them it was the EMF, like just the waistband.
Yeah.
And I guess it's TSA or whatever, went, "Sir, do not expose yourself, sir. Do not expose yourself."
Oh, man.
Went crazy. And I was like, "I'm not exposing myself. I'm just showing you my belt." "Do not, sir. Do not." And I was like,
people were
tense.
Can
escalate so quickly, like so on edge. And I can only imagine that the reaction to CV-19 was similar to that in many ways in the States. It's like in England, it would be like the woman would be like,
"Oh man, that's kind of the difference between Europe and America. I think it's a big, it's like I don't know. I think there's something about being able to show breasts on TV in Europe that's like just normalizes people a lot more versus here. You know what I mean? It's just like you can't do this, you can't say this word now, you can't do that, you can't do that. It's just nonstop, man.
Yeah, indeed, it's crazy. So yeah.
So what are these underwear made out of? What were they, silver or some shit? What were they?
Yeah, silver lined underwear. I met the guys in Santa Monica, early 2020.
Oh, they're based here, huh? The company.
Yeah.
Oh, it's where I'm at right now, man.
Yeah, Lambs, LAMBS, EMF blocking underwear. But I mean, it's good to protect your bits. But to be honest, you should be mitigating risk every other way as well. Not just covering your balls. But there's
do you do anything else while you're traveling like that, like other clothing while you're doing, or do you think it's not worth it? I don't know, man. I've tried some of those things. Honestly, they're just not comfortable. We just need like a fashion designer to get into that stuff to make it look better and B, feel more comfortable, because it's it's just not comfy, man. Honestly, not comfy.
I think biohackers are generally a little bit more geeky. Generally, and aren't necessarily fashion gurus, so I can understand, and they probably don't care about it too much. But no, I don't bother with it when I'm traveling. I generally take like an air quality meter with me, so I can check to see if it's horrendous air quality. So if I know to open a window wherever I'm staying and things like that. On a plane, there's not a lot you can do about it other than sit on the row near the aisle, not near the window, because the EMF is almost non-existent down the middle of the plane. And I've tested this on multiple flights.
Oh, really? I've never even heard of this.
You
took a little meter with you on the plane, or what?
Yeah, EMF reader. Yeah, it's like did the Carnival Aurelius thing, like he did with his Bluetooth headphones. But I carry one of these around with me sometimes. For instance, if I'm traveling through multiple hotels, I'll check the EMF to see if there's a router tucked away somewhere under the bed, and then unplug it. So I've done it on multiple flights, and the inner row near the aisle is almost EMF free completely. So that's generally what I do for that. I take methylene blue to help with my oxygenation when I'm on a flight as well, especially if it's over 2 hours, and various other small bits and pieces with healthy snacks. But I don't get paranoid about being exposed to EMF too much, to be honest.
The plane is tough, yeah, because you can't escape it. I didn't know this bit. I mean, dude, I've always hated the window. I don't know. I feel I'm trapped in. Like, if I want to go pee, I can just stand up if I'm in the aisle. So I've always been an aisle guy. I don't know. But first class beats all of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. When you fly like 10 times a month, which is, I do 5 to 10 flights a month, you can't. Business is just ridiculous. It's just business or first is just no point.
Where'd you just come back from?
So I've just come back from Germany now, 72 hours ago. And before that, I was in Barcelona. Before that, I was in Ibiza. Before that, I was in Mallorca. And before that, I was in London for a week.
You're a legend, man. You have a lot of experience on this traveling stuff. Man, it's a lot.
Yeah. I did 78 cities through COVID.
78 cities through COVID while it was going on?
Yep. Yeah. Once they said you can't get out of England because we're no longer in the EU, and we're only EU people are allowed to travel around the EU. I got out immediately, had a reason to get out, and then stayed out the whole time and didn't come back. So my house was empty for like 10 months.
Oh my God.
It was awesome. And I did that both years. I did it 2020 and then 2021 as well.
But you had no problems traveling outside of, just going from England. Nobody bothered you, except the one guy in Germany.
To get into Germany, to get into Germany at the border, they needed a reason for me to go in at the time. This is post-Brexit. Before Brexit, it was completely fine, no problems at all. And I only ever had like one person mention about the mask, which is that dude on the train. Most of the time, I just, if there was someone around, I'd keep it on my chin just to be a good boy. If there was someone that was particularly worried, like an old person, before we understood what was happening in the world or how dangerous it actually was, I was quite respectful. But at the same time, I didn't want to be breathing in my own carbon dioxide too much. And,
yeah, it's not funny, man. It's like there was no mentioning of how to take care of yourself, how to be healthy, how to just what you can do besides doing all this precautionary stuff. It's like everything else doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Eat whatever you want. Don't exercise. Don't fuck your sleep. Who cares? Just go. Don't forget to go to work, though.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's mad. Actually, one doctor told me that they had seen in the surgery that like ridiculous 500% increase of people with eye infections from wearing masks and glasses.
Oh my God.
So breathing out, coming out under the glasses, misting up the glasses, and giving them an eye infection.
Oh my God, that makes a lot of sense, man. Because I do remember people walking around with those foggy glasses. I remember people walking around with the glasses and they would wear the goggles on top, and it's just like...
I know. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Oh my God, man. I can't believe it, how times have changed. And so now it's just like Men in Black kind of, right, in England? I mean, here it's pretty much like that. For a while here, to go into any shop, I had to show them my card. You couldn't go inside a bar, a restaurant. It was like the weirdest thing ever. It was just so crazy to me that everybody was just like... Most people honestly didn't care here, man. But, it has to do with, I understand California and LA people. Obviously other states like Texas and Florida were a bit better off at that time. Well, I mean, Florida had like a weird time for 2 weeks. I have friends in Florida, and they had a weird time for 2 weeks, and otherwise, that's it. They were done. After 2 weeks, they were done completely.
And the thing is, the generation, or should I say, the age difference for Florida is significantly higher, isn't it? So, and
that's true. But I guess I'm talking about like Miami, Tampa, areas where there's enough young people. It's not just like the retirement areas of Florida. Yeah. I mean, like if you go to Miami, man, have you been to Miami?
Once, 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, well, you got to go again. It's insane. I mean, it's fun, but it's fucking insane. It's just. Everybody's like, there's the mamacitas, you got the plastic surgery, you got everything done. The dudes are just shirtless all the time. Everybody's driving a Ferrari. It's just like a fucking like, I mean, I describe it as LA on water with more cocaine, like a lot more cocaine. That's the way I describe it, So It's a crazy town. Yeah, and I went there and it was fine. It was not even a thing. Nobody even talked about it anymore. It was like during COVID too, you know.
My only memory of Miami was being completely sleep deprived from a flight, and some dude with a tutu, fluorescent yellow with fluorescent pink socks pulled up to his knees, dancing on the side of the street like Ace Ventura style outside Denny's, and that's my only memory of Miami.
Oh man, you gotta love America. It just doesn't happen that way in Europe, though. The craziest just doesn't. I don't understand. I really actually don't understand what it is. I don't know. Why is this? Probably though, right?
We can't get good stuff over here, apparently. I don't know, but I mean, as they say, America's 10 times everything. 10 times the fun, 10 times the craziness, I guess, as well, and 10 times the size with everything, including supersized meals.
My God, how's the food in England? Is it as bad as they say still?
Man, we have nothing left of our own. It's literally the best of everywhere now. London, to be fair, London is amazing, and England's definitely upped its food game for sure. Mm-hmm. And the standards are much, much better. But yeah, yesteryear it used to be tinned food and rubbish. But
yeah, the old sausage, like a little bit of beans and like an egg and like the big tomato that's like from a can. Those days are gone a little bit, eh?
The reason was this, actually. I was talking to my grandfather about this before he died, actually, and it's because during the war we had rations, because we're a little island, or we have a moat around us. Everyone had rations, so they had rations for how much food you could actually buy each week, and as a result, everyone would try to produce their own food or like provide for themselves, and then of course the quality got worse, and they'd have like sausages and mashed potatoes to keep them going. So it's like the quality really did drop, and it never really picked up for quite a long time afterwards. But now we have the best of everything coming from everywhere.
So you don't feel you're deprived of like healthy cafes and Erewhon type of shit when you're in London, are you?
No, we haven't got Erewhon, but we're halfway there with Planet Organic, which is pretty banging, to be honest. It's the real Whole Foods. It's like what Whole Foods pretends to be Planet Organic.
Or used to be about 10 years ago. Yeah, it has really changed a lot. It's just a big Amazon shop now for me. Like, I still go there, but it's just it's just everything canola oil, everything soy oil, and it's just like, I think there's probably more conventional food in there now than there is organic, which back in the day, like if you said you went to Whole Foods, everybody would look at you like you're talking about Erewhon. Everybody would be like, oh, you're going to Whole Foods, bro. Oh, and then now you'll go there and they have, everything is mostly conventional. There's always, an organic choice, but I think it's it's dominated by just regular food now. Even like the meat, right? It used to be like grass-fed only, basically. At some point, I mean, it was just like, there was not a lot of selection. And then it's just now, it's like the steps that they've created. I don't know if you've been there recently, but, they have like step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 5 is like just, real grass-fed. Because remember also it used to be grass-fed. Now it's grass-fed, grass-finished. Then it's going to, probably in a couple of years, it'll be like grass-fed, grass-finished, grass after finished. They'll just keep coming up with bullshit. But
wild herb fed. That's the next level.
Yeah. But now it's like steps. So now it's like you can get step 1 meat, step 2 meat. So it's like, step 1 just so it's just the same regular meat that I can buy in any other store, eh? Yeah.
Again, marketing. We wouldn't put up for that over here. It's just like organic or non-organic.
Bio, right? Bio. Everything is bio there. Yeah. I don't know, man. Is that what it is, though? Honestly, because I'm always thinking about, like, what is it about America that it's just like, is it the marketing that's destroying it? Because it's just, there's, like you said, if there's one choice in America, there'll be 15 choices, right? So it's like, is that what it is that's driving this kind of reduction in food quality that we're having? It's just, like you said, more and more stuff, more and more choices, and because of that, you have less and less and less and less quality.
Well, I think one of the things I realized is that, so if we look at America, they have 50 of everything, an abundance of everything. Everyone is the American dream. You can make your money, you can do everything, and everyone's trying to sell something to someone. It's pretty on steroids. And then if you look at a lot of Europe, they don't have this approach. They just don't. They're just not like it. And especially if you go to like Finland or Scandinavia, there's just none of this. We kind of sit in the middle, literally, on the planet, and also in terms of our approach. So we're half selling, but a little bit more sly because we're English, and a little less upfront. And America is all out, full blown selling. So I think it's the same with everything. Is the more that you sell, the more you need to produce. The more you need to produce, the more you want to bring down the cost. The more you want to bring down the cost, the worse the quality is. And I think, then you get Erewhon, people like that are actually like, we don't care about the cost, we don't care about the price. Either do our customers, even if it's 25 bucks for a smoothie.
Oh, like, dude, yeah. I mean, that's what it used to be. It used to be when they just opened. Dude, they opened up on a little area here in Beverly, basically Hollywood. Anyway, and that was the first Erewhon. And when I moved to LA, we used to go there, and it was a vegan vegetarian health food store, and that was my vegan vegetarian day. So I used, yeah, that's what it was originally, my man. Yeah.
No judgment, no.
You haven't had a vegan and vegetarian phase, eh? You haven't had one.
I did. That's why I have no judgment.
Oh, okay. So we all did. That's good. So you cured your mental illness, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yes. I did.
It happens. No offense, but yeah, man, I used to go there, and it was just a vegan vegetarian spot. I used to get like kelp noodles there, and yeah, that's what I used to eat, like kelp noodles. And then out of nowhere, Dave Asprey's coffee showed up there, and then they started selling his coffee. I was like the first place that I think he sold it at, and then they would get more and more stuff, and then out of nowhere they just redo this shop. They clean it up, make it nicer, and now they're all over the place in LA, man. There's like 7-8 locations. I don't know how many, but it's that blew up. But like you said, man, it used to be $9 smoothie when they just opened up again, and then it's $16, and then now you can get like add-ons like with your dragon fruit smoothie with like cacao nibs and like a bunch of other bullshit, and it's like $25 basically.
Yeah. I remember it was some yogurt or kefir or something or other, and it was like $18. And in England, it would be like $4 tops.
Is it raw though? It was raw, eh?
I don't even remember. I just remember picking it up, looking at the sticker on the side or on the bottom of it, and just saying, like, I'm not too frugal, but there's some things I'm just like, out of principle.
Course.
I'm not spending $18 on a yogurt or whatever it was.
Yeah. That's me. I'll just go in there and just buy whatever, it's like sensible price. And then, you do notice the quality, of course. Like if I buy strawberries there, they're fucking worth it. They're $20 a carton, but they're fucking good. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm going to be a basic LA bitch right now, and I'm just going to admit it. They're fucking good. Because if you go to Whole Foods, even if you buy the organic, whatever, they're just like, the sour type of strawberry. I grew up in Russia, and like my grandparents had, their own garden. So like I used to get like real garden. Like we could go out of the ground, pull it out, and just eat it, not even wipe the dirt off. And I could never replicate that taste in America, ever, until those strawberries. They're still probably not the same, but, maybe there's a bit of nostalgia. But the point is, they're worth it. But then other shit, like you said, I'm not going to spend $20 on a bottle of kefir, because it's just like, I can make it at home, by the way. It'll be way cheaper and more tasty anyways.
$20 on a punnet of strawberries.
Yeah.
It's just like, even over here, we do strawberries and cream really well over here. This is like with Wimbledon. I mean, it's the type of thing that we specialise in. But still, £8, which is about $10.
Man,
is about the limit.
How's the raw milk game over in England? Is it legal, illegal? What's the status? Is it hard to get?
No, it's legal. I get it shipped every week. I get 2 litres of it turn up every Wednesday, and 2 kefir as well. Over here, it's not illegal. You can't buy it from a shop. You have to buy it straight from farm, just because of the bacteria situation. But it's really very easily available here.
They deliver it right to your door, right to you, or you have to pick it up somewhere?
Yeah. Actually, I did a reel on it. Yes, I did. It's called Hill Farm in northern England somewhere, and they just courier it down every week. But I did a reel on it like a couple of days ago, just because I love it so much. And actually, I became really dairy intolerant over the years with the various diets that I've done and things like that, and less dairy because I heard it was bad and blah 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 blah. And then I couldn't tolerate dairy anymore. But since adding in the raw dairy, and I've been doing it probably for 6 months. After about 3 or 4 months, I started tolerating all dairy again. So obviously raw milk has the enzymes that help break down the milk itself, and the bacteria that help you digest it properly as well. When it's pasteurized and homogenized, obviously it kills off those. Man. And then as a result, if I do cheat and have a Starbucks with the normal, crappy milk in it, it doesn't affect me at all for my digestion anymore. So it's been worth having the raw milk.
And it used to be that you would drink some milk and you would get runny pants, yeah?
I'd shit my pants. Yeah, it'd be like
Wow.
I'd had a mug of brain octane oil.
Been there, done that too. I just talked about that on my last podcast too. That's funny. We were talking about like I'm very sensitive to the MCT oil shit. Yeah, and I remember having it and just like, if I don't have a bathroom, I'm gonna shit right here, guys. Like, I need to go to the bathroom. Just like searching for a bathroom. Like, I'm gonna kill somebody. Yeah.
This is why I'm surprised that Dave didn't have better toilet facilities in the Bulletproof Coffee Shop in Santa Monica. Because to be honest, that would have had a hammer.
Yeah, is it still there? I used to go there a bunch of times too. I used to go there, get coffee and some food and low carb diet stuff. So like you brought up raw milk, one of those things that maybe you've changed your mind on, or maybe you've experimented more with it. And it's one of those things where, I try to not rush with making big generalized statements about everything, except maybe, I don't know, fuck oat milk, but, I'm cool with that statement. But
it's a good one.
Yeah, well, because it just, you don't know. So I try to be really cautious because, like with the raw milk thing, right? It's or just milk in general, like as you said, you used to not tolerate it and used to probably think it's the devil and it's inflammatory and IG1 raises your IG1 and all this blah 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 blah, and then now you're cool with it. Have you had experiences like that with other things that you maybe changed your mind about?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Well, maybe vegan. You said you were vegan, right?
Well, yeah.
So,
there was definitely vegan. Yeah, definitely the vegan thing. Actually, my half brother was vegan, and he was like, "Oh, it's amazing. When I first went vegan, my energy went up, and
Still
I felt
vegan.
so much better." He is, yeah, and his wife and his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'd try it. And so instead of having a chicken sandwich for lunch, this is before I knew about health, before I knew anything, it's like, must have been, 12, 13, 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm going to give up meat and I'm going to become vegan. I'm going to try it and see if it works well for my energy. Mm-hmm. And so instead of having a chicken sandwich or a ham sandwich, I'd have like salad sandwich.
Or hummus. That's a big one, right? I used to have hummus sandwiches, or like what's that? What's the other one? Hummus and baba ganoush. You know baba ganoush? Yeah.
And yeah, for a few weeks I felt a little bit better. I think it's because I just wasn't eating all the crappy meat and whatnot, and I had the extra fiber, and so I was pooping much more regularly. But really, after a while, it just declined, and I tried it for about 8 or 9 months, and I just felt horrendous in the end. And I was eating vegetables and not just sandwiches in the end, but it just didn't work for me. I got super knackered, fatigued from it, and in fact, I lost a lot of weight quite easily, wasted muscle as well, which I'd gained the previous year and things. So I just realised that it just wasn't right for my body for sure. And I'm predominantly, I probably eat 65% meat, 70% meat of my diet these days, and I find that works for me. But it's got to be good meat, obviously the grass-fed organic stuff. But I think it's the same with keto. When keto first became popular, everyone was just dirty keto. Anything high fat, give me high fat. Yeah, so much fat, give me more. Just give me more brain octane or whatever. and then it worked for a little while, and then people actually got sick and more intolerances because they stripped their gut by having too much MCT oil or whatever.
Yep.
And it goes through this period of early adopters, a bit too gung ho and risky. And they do it, they get all the data in, people say, oh yeah, it didn't work, or it did work, or this is what works. And then they go, actually, clean keto actually works for a lot of people with, autoimmune. And then carnivore comes around, and, that trend with Liver King and Carnivore Redis and what they're all pushing quite heavily, and Paul Saladino.
Of course.
And it's like, I think Paul's gone through the same route with his work. Is like, originally it's like, if there was a bit of lettuce on his plate, it would be like, I don't want that steak. And now it's like, I eat all the meat, and I like papaya, and I like honey, and I like eggs, and I like this, and it's basically paleo. Yeah. So I think everyone kind of throws it out there and see what sticks, and then rein it in a bit. And I feel like vegan is going through that on a global scale right now. A lot of people are testing it. They think they know better, and they fight you because of the animal cruelty and blah 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 blah, and talk about the ethics of it, even though they don't necessarily understand it. But I think everyone's figuring out what works and what doesn't right now. And vegan is definitely one of those.
Big
for
time.
sure.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, there's so many I was vegan for 10 year kind of videos out there. And the vegans hate that one. They fucking hate that one, those videos, you know? But there's too many of those where people just, you know, and they'll show you before and after pictures where they just look like an average person. And then there's that, you know, then they go vegan. Then there's that initial stage of, let's say, losing maybe a bunch of weight. You know, with a lot of people, it's maybe fat, and they get lean, and they take their, like, selfies, and they got a six-pack. And then they keep losing weight, and then keep losing weight, and then they just look like emaciated, right? And it's just like, whoa, not a good look. And then eventually they come around. Yeah.
We call it recovering vegan.
Recovering vegan.
I love this term. It's so true. When someone comes to me now, one of my followers, and like, for instance, I had this last week, one of them messaged me and just said, Tim, I've got to thank you for being so tough on vegans, because, you know, I'm now a recovering vegan and I can't believe I didn't realize it. You know, I look back through previous messages that they had sent me, and it was pretty heavy. They didn't like me. And so it's just
the
quite
same
funny.
person. The same person.
Yeah, same person. Yeah.
Wow. That's big, man.
A hater to a thank you, and it's happened a few times where people
really
have said things and people weren't ready to hear this news, or it triggered them for some reason, and they figure out the trigger was for a reason. You know, we don't trigger over things that doesn't bother us, or if there's nothing
100%
touchy about it. Yeah. So so it was quite nice to hear that.
Wow, but that's shocking, man. That's shocking to me, because it's just I get those, you know, fuck you, or whatever, and then I've yet to. I'm hoping. I'm hoping for one now. You know, that maybe I can get somebody to say, you know what, man, my bad, or something like that. That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Well, once this goes out, I'm sure there might be some people that hear it, and you might get it. But I mean, most of the time when there's a hater on a comment or something or other, actually, and it'd be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah 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 blah. Sunflower oil isn't bad for you, and you can drink oat milk or whatever it be. And I'd be like, well, actually, do you know anything about the electron transport chain and how our cells actually work and how the mitochondria actually function? Because if you don't know about the electron transport chain, you're not in a position to discuss this.
Yeah.
And I give them, you know, a bit of science, not too much, but a little bit, and then they don't answer. And then another follower, and this has happened probably 50 times more or whatever. And someone else will say, oh, they've gone quiet now. And I'm like, this happens every time. Someone's a hater. You throw actual facts at them and some science, and then they go quiet, and they never ever respond.
I try. I never get in with it on people. I mean, I've made that mistake really early on, where one time maybe I got in on it with people, and then just realized they're not really even trying to have a conversation with you. They're just trying to tell you, "Fuck you, Tim." That's all that they're trying to do. But you know, but I'm really impressed that you had some people change their mind. That's fucking bravo to you, sir. Thanks.
Well, I mean, one of the things I have for this, actually, because there's been quite a lot of haters along the way. Yeah. But I have a rule where if I can't have fun with them, or if I can't learn from it, then I instantly block any hate. But if I can have fun and just like a bit of humor for myself to brighten up the day, or if I can learn from it, it's like if they do say something and they come up with something and I'm like, actually, I don't know that. I will set myself a task and research it that night to see if I'm wrong, and then I will reply and respond and say sorry if I was wrong or whatever. So I found that approach has worked really well, but otherwise you can just get caught up in the hate of people hating you from, you know, sharing something about how you can love animals and still eat them. Yeah, that was a bad post. I'm
guilty of the having fun with it. I just do an American D's nuts joke. You know, you know those. No, you don't know those. Well, Tim, we're gonna have to talk about this another time. But I do a little joke. I try to have fun with people, and and like I think I do the exact same thing. If they get really vicious, it's just like you can't do this. You can't respond. It's funny though, right? Some people will like they'll follow every one of your posts and just to shit on it, and you're just like, Jesus Christ! Like, do you follow anybody else? Like, you have a lot of time.
Like, thanks for the engagement stats, mate.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or restrict, or sometimes actually they'll say something hate, and then I'll come back with a snarky, witty comment, and then I put them on restrict, so that they can't actually. So it's like, and then you look back at the post a few weeks later or whatever, just by chance, and you'll see like they've commented da 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 da, and they're all like, "Do you want to show it?" And I'm just like, "Nah." I'm just gonna leave it. I mean,
that's a good strategy. That's a good
Yeah,
strategy. Yeah. So what are you like currently into as far as, your diet wise? Let's, since we're talking about diet, what are you, it's probably easier, I think, to say what you maybe don't do, right? Rather than do, because you seem like you've come around that circle of being, maybe extremely restrictive, right? And then maybe now, like you said, you're not so restrictive. So maybe what are some things that you, avoid or don't do if, that makes it easier for you?
I mean, it's really simple. I eat clean veg, clean meat, clean fish, eggs, good eggs, and raw dairy. That's basically it. So I don't exclude any food groups except for processed Franken junk. I basically don't have any processed foods. There are exceptions to the rule. Like last night, I had some cheesecake, which was made from cream cheese, so it was like a really clean one. And I do let my hair down a bit. But really, it's just like eat as close as our ancestors would. I don't eat, packets and packets of nuts or anything like that. As many as we would be able to grab ourselves from a tree for ancestry.
No, it's tough, man. Have you ever gotten a nut out? Have you ever gotten like a hazelnut out of its shell, or a wall? It's fucking, dude. It's like a arduous task. It takes forever.
Yeah. Well, in England, we used to have a whole big pot of nuts for Christmas with the nutcrackers. So you'd sit down there and do it, and you'd probably get to 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that. Yeah. But whereas if you buy a bag of walnuts from Amazon in a big bag like this, which I did once, you just sit there and get through like 250 walnuts.
Or pistachios, dude. I can kill a bag of pistachios easy. And again, they're delicious and they have some good stuff in them. But yeah, man, they're just even besides some of the maybe some of the oils that are in it, and et cetera, and how they're roasted, they're just really calorically dense, man. So you can get really fat. I mean, I've had people that would but I'm having just almond butter. It's almonds. It's healthy. Nothing else in it. And you're like, dude, this is like 1,000 calories, in this thing. And again, I'm not a calorie counter guy at all, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's just it's just a lot of food mass for one person at one sitting. That's not really, and also like you could eat so many things with those calories, right? That you probably would enjoy more even, but yeah.
No, so yeah, just super clean in every way I can, but I kind of let my hair down 5% of the time, because otherwise you're just a stress bag, and you actually your cortisol spiking because you can't enjoy any of the things that everyone else is enjoying. So there is an element of like what's good for my body in the short term, what's good for my body in the long term, and what's good for my mental health. When someone shares out, like there's a guy in the UK called Fitness Chef. He's not into fitness and he's not a chef, and he shares about how don't eat a full-size Mars bar, eat a fun-size one, and like don't eat a whole pizza, have 2 slices, and because the calories, blah blah blah. Yeah. And it's just like he says it's good for mental health to still be able to eat half the pizza. Like it's not, if you understand neurotransmitters and how the brain actually works with them and how it comes from the food that it works in your gut, then I'm pretty sure that the mental health would be significantly easier if you didn't eat any of the pizza. But you still should be able to enjoy one from time to time and say, fuck it, I want the pizza.
Yeah, or my little trick is like maybe make it yourself completely. Make the dough. Make the, you know what I'm saying? Well, get the flour, make the dough, use raw milk, use pastured eggs, and also like by the time you're done with it, you ever see that movie, what's that movie with Steve Carell, 40-Year-Old Virgin? You ever see that one? Yeah. Remember that one? Yeah. Remember when he's describing making the egg salad sandwich? He's like, well, this weekend I made an egg salad sandwich, like after all the guys were talking about like fucking that weekend before or whatever, and he's like, I made a egg salad sandwich, I got the eggs, I put the mayonnaise in, and he's like describing it, how long it took him to do it, and then he says like at the end, he's like, yeah, and at the end, I just took me so long to do it that I didn't really even want to eat it anymore. And I find that same thing with like, if you're making like, if you're going to cook a cake, like from nothing, by the time you're done with it, man, you're probably just going to have like a slice or two and you're just going to be like, I'm done. Versus if you have that like moment, we all have those moments of stress where you're really hungry and you just want to run into the store and grab grab the shittiest cheesecake or 5 Mars bars, right? And then just scarf them down. Versus I feel like that time, the process kind of slows you down a bit,
For sure. But the thing is, if you're making your own cakes or pizza or whatever, so I'm just going to walk to Erewhon, I'm just going to get some flour, I'm just going to get the raw milk, and just get this $250 later. You got a tasty pizza 3 hours later.
Yeah. So how about with flour? Do you avoid do you do sourdough bread? Do you do anything like that, or avoid it altogether?
I generally avoid all bread. Just because for me, it spikes my blood glucose like insane, like ridiculously insane. And it takes a long time for it to come back down to a decent level, where I don't get this with white potatoes or rice and things like that. So I've tried it a lot. Sweet sourdough, however, I do like. It doesn't spike my blood glucose as much, and actually my digestion really likes it. So I have a sourdough pizza every few months or something or other, but not, if I go to a restaurant and they say "do you want bread," I'll say just don't put it on the table, because you know what it's like. People just generally pick it up and eat it anyway. But if they say that they have sourdough, most of the time I'll say, yeah, I'll have a piece. But really, again, it comes down to how much of this would you naturally have in the natural habitat if it wasn't processed. And it's the same with the nuts, the same with the bread, the same with flour, same with corn. Like, for instance, I eat corn on the cob, or sweet corn, but I won't eat, products that are generally made from corn.
Oh, yeah, it's a big difference. You're not going to eat, like, 4 corn on the cobs. You're just going to, well, maybe you could eat 4, but fuck, beyond that, I doubt it.
With a bucket of KFC and 4 corn on the cobs.
Now we're talking American right there. Yeah, man. Yeah. Do you ever fuck around with, like, corn flour, like masa harina, stuff like this? Like, nixtamalized corn flour? No? Ooh, you should fuck around with that. You know what that is? That's corn flour that's been nixtamalized. That's nowadays they use I think is it charcoal now or something like that, or lime water. It's basically the same idea with like sourdough. It's just gonna eat up most of those anti-nutrients, and then it's super light on the digestion. So I'm sure you're able to find some masa harina there. You can just get it as the flour. It's already been nixtamalized for you. And it's kind of the traditional old school way that Latinos, mostly Mexicans, used to do it like that. So super good. I make tortillas out of it like that. I do have a reel on it too, by the way. But you would say, like I said, it's like the sourdough bread of corn tortillas. You know what I mean? Super tasty.
Nice. I'll check out the reel.
Yeah. And so sourdough bread. So you have it around. You're not super anti-gluten, like worrying about it all the time, but you're just not having pasta every day.
Yeah, I don't need to avoid it, but I try not to have it, but I don't care too much about it because I'm just not having the things that it's generally in. The sauces or like the the barbecue sauces or the pasta or the bread or blah blah blah. So I don't really need to avoid it, and it doesn't really do much to me on an immediate effect anyway, and obviously it does have a longer term effect for everyone, and you need to have like I think it's 4 weeks without gluten completely for it to stop affecting you, and then when you have even a little bit, it kind of starts to count down again. So I try to avoid it, but don't really have the things that would cause me to have it.
It doesn't give you shit pants like you said with dairy that used to do, right? You just have it, you just don't feel as good. I mean, look, I love me a pasta with some clams and some lobster. I mean, fuck, I love that. But I would be lying to you if I told you like I didn't feel like taking a nap and just like fucking bloated for probably for a day after that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I just kind of avoid it. But a nice fillet steak, a little bit of butter, not too much. Maybe some herbs and spices and things like that, and 1 veg is perfect meal.
So you're not avoiding veggies. You mentioned Paul Saladino, who avoids all veggies. You're not a anti-veg guy. You're fine with them.
Yeah.
Maybe cooked, maybe raw. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think someone that needs to be on carnivore diet and has to avoid all of these anti-nutrient foods and is scared of veg has a gut issue that needs to be resolved, in my opinion. And I think avoiding it forever isn't necessarily the right approach. My way of thinking is, what's the root cause of it? Or why would you have to avoid it and other people don't? And, regardless of thriving without them, why can't you thrive with them? And it doesn't necessarily mean having so much vegetable that you're having so much fiber that you're shitting your pants all day, every day as well.
Very true.
It's like, what's the right balance? So yeah, no, I'm definitely not avoiding veg, but I don't need that much.
Mm-hmm. And so how about with supplements? Have you had that kind of come full circle moment? Or like I used to take BCAAs and then EAAs and then like CLA, which you can just get from butter. I've done it all, man. So I've had my phase of taking some stuff, and I'm not also anti-supplements. I'm not necessarily pro supplements all the time for everybody either. So I kind of found that middle ground where, you know, a lot of them I can definitely for sure say that they're a waste of your money. And but a lot of them, like, you know, vitamin C, I'm a regular vitamin C kind of guy taker. Like, I take that regularly, a big believer, whatever you want to say. So have you had that moment?
Yes, I have. I mean, at one point I was taking like 70 different supplements a day.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
it's too much,
it's
man.
but you know what it's like when you go into Erewhon or into the supplement store or whatever it may be. It's like, oh yeah, I've always really wanted to try this, and it's going to be a life-changing supplement, and blah blah blah. But the thing is, after a while, it's like, actually, I dropped out all supplements, and then I did some metabolomics tests, so cellular testing, to see what I was actually deficient on a cellular level. And do quite a few different blood panels, and I only supplement based on what I need specifically. You know, at the moment it's like eight supplements, so it's still a few, and I do for sure like my BCAA, EAA, creatine, glutamine, and carnosine for sure, because this in the morning after my water before my coffee is just like rocket fuel for me. And I think from going from my vegan or plant-based days, not having enough protein or bioavailable protein, and having to rely on crappy powders that my body just didn't assimilate. The difference between having no aminos and having the right aminos is significant in terms of brain power. Again, neurotransmitters is, you know, obviously significant for our brain function, obviously. And I think, you know, when I've given my aminos to, for instance, my ex-girlfriend that was vegan, she would go from being quite chill on an earth type, you know, very stoic and always like calm and not aware of everything around, to being like this like rampant person that's just like super energized, and you can see the difference. And I feel, you know, it really does help me up my game significantly. So, you know, and obviously you don't want to just have just solid meat for breakfast, so having aminos as a warmer in the morning is actually great, pre-workout as well. And obviously the statistics behind aminos, BCAA and EAA combined, up to 20% better performance in gym and in cardio exercises as well. So I'm a big fan of those. But apart from that, I'm not a fan of the latest things. I think ones that everyone should take, such as, you know, liver bitters is amazing, because most of the foods don't have the enzymes in it to trigger our liver to produce the bile and the gallbladder to release the bile. So I think liver bitters, actually, I've always got
like digestive enzymes, you mean, right? Or what do you mean by liver bitters?
No, so Swedish bitters are bitters. So it's various different herbs that are very strong tasting, and what that does is it actually, when it touches the tongue, it triggers the liver. It says, we've got some very bitter foods to digest, start producing bile, which then obviously goes into the gallbladder, which then is there ready for when you do eat. And, you know, for instance, a lot of people that have gallstones don't necessarily have enough liver bile, and their gallbladder isn't flushed out every day, which is why it gets clogged up. People that don't have good digestion or have imbalanced hormones and all these various other digestive issues, often because their livers are so down-regulated, they've been so gunked up with so many different toxins, you know, household products, chemicals in their food, that their liver is just stagnant or sleeping. Liver bitters actually wakes it up, and it literally says, you have to start working right now. And this is what
brand is that you like? Is you have a special brand that you like, or it's just okay? Well,
this is Bittersregen, which I have imported from Germany.
Schlagen the Flaggen! Yeah.
No, there's Swedish bitters are a traditional blend, so you can get them pretty much anywhere. So that's one thing that I will never stop taking, just because I had a sluggish liver for many years, and poor digestion. This really helped significantly. And then, you know, there are digestive enzymes such as the biooptimizers, Masszymes, which are brilliant products, to be fair, and they really do help people digest things. But if they're not upregulating their liver and having the right foods in the first place, then their digestion's never going to be right. So, you know, there are things like that.
Yeah, and I just don't want to rely on them, which a lot of people do. And I know that argument of, like, you know, I understand everything is in our environment is not optimal and all that, so we kind of have to rely on some of these things. But, you know, again, I think there's that sweet middle ground, you know, where you're, like I said, because if you're going to eat some food and it's just going to ruin your day, you know, if you can't have without the liver or enzymes or whatever, you know, it's just, I don't want to get to that place. That's all.
But I agree. I completely agree with you. And I don't rely on them. I like adding them in. And the other thing is that the synergistic effect of all of these things, you just don't know what they're doing to you on a biochemical level. You just don't. It's like, like if you think about taking meds and all the side effects and all the cross side effects and the side effects of the side effects who are crossing across various medications. But if you're taking, 40 different supplements, what is that actually happening doing to you, and how much is it actually stressing your liver of processing all of these things, which has a negative effect on the body opposed to a positive one. So I think it's much better to correct direction, keep it in a straight line opposed to throwing it off left and right. So that's why I think obviously health starts in the mouth and in the digestion, and the nutrients that we put in it. If you're not got the good food with a lot of nutrients, get it. And if you're not taking bitters to help your liver digest these things, then you should do that.
So you don't have to do that Liver King thing of deep throating 100 capsules or whatever the fuck it was. Have you seen that video?
More!
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, less doesn't sell.
Of course,
doesn't get you in private jets flying around the world and doing all sorts of crazy things. But, there you go. But no, I mean, I take them. I take them routinely. I do stop them, and I take them for what I need. I don't just take it for the sake of it. And obviously, running the conference and being a full-time biohacker, I do test out a lot of different things, a lot of different technologies, and do test out supplements to see, what they do to me. But if I was a general day-to-day dude, working in an office, I definitely wouldn't. If it wasn't my career, I definitely wouldn't be taking more than 3 or 4 for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned taking some tests to figure out which supplements are good for you. So what were you talking about there? So
there's a test called Nutra-Eval, which is from Genova Labs, and that's
right.
I learned that from a good friend of mine, actually, Dr. Scott Scher.
I've done their what is the fucking panel with all the oh man, I've posted about it and I just slip. It's one of those brain fart things. But I've done 1 or 2 of their panels too. They do a really deep dive into stuff, don't they? So which one specifically are you talking about?
So it's called Nutra-Eval, which is basically a metabolomics test. And what that does is it looks at the expression of the cell, so you can see what's in the cell that what's in the cell that shouldn't be, and what isn't in the cell that should be. Mm-hmm. So it tells you a whole host of these things, and it literally can tell you, okay, this is how much B12 you should be supplementing of this type, or this is how much vitamin C you have going on, and how much you actually need to supplement. So it'll tell you even the milligrams of what you need to supplement on each of these things. So it's very, very specific. So it's Nutra-Eval, Nutraeval. It's about $500.
Ion panel is the one that I've done. I just remembered it. So yeah, it's pretty expensive stuff. The ion profile panel. I've done that, and I've done some. Can't remember another one, but so that's a blood test that you're talking about. That's not a
blood. It's blood. I think they do blood, urine, and saliva. I think on that one from memory, and you spin it so that they actually it's not just standard blood in that regard. So yeah, it has to be put in the centrifuge and sent away. It takes like 6-8 weeks to come back, but it is really the gold standard test, in my opinion. And then you've obviously got the organic acids, so it tells you if you've got leaky gut, which is also my favorite test. So you can tell if you've got things like candida or gut imbalances that are coming out in the urine. So it's a really telltale for females, obviously, that keep on getting UTIs and things like that. And how your methylation is working on an output basis. Because a lot of people know about, testing your genes and seeing if you've got the MTHFR gene, which is the popular thing of yesteryear.
Right. 23andMe, just do it really quick and kind of, okay, I got it. And it's like, okay, so now what?
It's like, well, I've got the MTHFR, I need to supplement with methylfolate and B12, and oh my God, I found this amazing thing. But the thing is, without doing the right test, you don't know actually if you do need to supplement, because your lifestyle might actually be getting you enough of these things. And you might not need to upregulate them, which can cause all sorts of different issues. So there's the organic acids test, which is the urine test from Great Plains Laboratory, which is also a good one.
I've done I've done the mold test there. So yeah. So
there is one other test that I really like at the moment. There's a brand called Bioniq, BIONIQ, and what they do is they actually run a whole panel of tests up front. and then they tell you and customize your supplements and then put it into like one pill, 3 times a day or whatever.
Oh.
And so I think this is actually the future of biohacking in health, is personalized or individualized supplementation based on your blood work quarterly or whatever.
That'd be nice. So you don't have to do the 100 pills in a handful thing, right? That's nice.
Right, it's not good for Liver King or his bottom line.
Yeah, because you can't. It's only one product that you can sell. Yeah, you got to sell more.
I want to sell you more.
Yeah. It won't work. Oh wow, interesting. And what's the name of that company again, man? Bionic.
Yeah, Bionic.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good. Actually, they exhibited at my conference last year. Really good, went down very, very well. And I'm working with them I'm doing their tests actually. And the interesting thing is because I work with like some of the best practitioners. Just one of the I guess luxuries of running a conference and getting to know everyone. And I got them to do the blood panel for me, and then they came back with their suggestions. And then an elite, let's just say an elite athlete performance guy that I'm working with on my bloods, who's a blood detective, came back and did very similar recommendations to what Bionic did with their algorithm. So it's actually really interesting to see how close they've got it dialed in. And I'm not an affiliate. I don't get anything for mentioning them, but I do really think that they are close to where things are going to be going, supplementing, based on blood tests. And then that's going to save a lot of hassle.
As you said, that really is really nice if you can just take one multivitamin kind of pill capsule per day. So what if somebody, and to take a little step back, like what if somebody is just getting into this space, is the marketing whatever person that's working and is getting sick, where would you start them? It could be some of these tests, because let's face it, $500 for the average person that works in a city, it's not that much money. They can afford a $500 test. It's not big fucking deal. People spend that money on much stupider things. Would there be like a couple tests or one test? Where would you recommend them starting at?
I wouldn't actually. where I talk about the unpopular things. So for me, it would be like, are you tracking your sleep? Are you truly respecting your sleep, knowing that sleep isn't something that you just have to do, knowing that sleep determines how you feel and how amazing you can operate if you get it right. So for instance, an Aura ring or a Whoop band or Bio strap, or not an Apple Watch because it's just there. But, are you doing any of these things to optimize your sleep? Are you wearing blue blocking glasses and actually falling asleep when you should be tired, not when you're absolutely knackered because the blue light's been keeping you awake? Are you hydrating properly? Like, are you filtering your water and not just, wanky, I want filtered water, not tap water. Like,
Brita, I buy a Brita at Walmart. It works.
Yeah, it's like, are you filtering your water and are you remineralizing it with a little bit of Celtic sea salt or something? And are you moving every day, or are you sitting at a desk 8 hours a day? Are you, sleeping with the window open, or two of you in your room with the windows closed all night and not having enough oxygen, too much carbon dioxide? There's, the basic things. Shoes off in the garden. How often do you get barefoot and go in the garden? We need these free electrons to reduce inflammation in the body and to promote healing and help our blood flow significantly. And so all of these tests are great. They're really great, and they can really help you dial things in. But if you haven't got the 80% nailed with those basic things, then there's no point doing any of these tests. Otherwise you're always going to be cleaning up the mess. And if I could go back to 2010, I'd say to myself, Tim, these are the things you've got to do to make sure that you don't get more and more ill over the coming years. I would be these things. Eject the toxic relationships that spike your cortisol, that make you so unhappy, and actually waste your energy and divert you away from your mission because you're always squabbling with someone. And focusing on the amazing people that that really are good friends opposed to the bad ones. And all of these things is really what I would recommend. And then if you're still not optimal, I would say, get the NutriEval test done for sure, and get the organic acids test done, and get the Dutch test, which is, the hormone panel. So you know really where your hormones are. But doing I call them the fundamentals of health. Doing the fundamentals of health and getting those nailed, things like your testosterone will go up naturally. You'll have a lot more energy naturally. Yeah. Your detoxification processes will run more naturally. You'll be happier naturally. Your brain chemistry will be much better, much easier. Every day would be like the day where you slept amazing, opposed to the day where you're hungover and you feel like you haven't slept. And that's the difference that makes a difference. Unfortunately, that's not fashionable, and I can't say more. And it doesn't make me 100 million a year in supplement sales. But the point is healthier people, and I think if people understood this, really understood this, and they understood the importance of these things instead of just taking a liver capsule, then I think we would all be a lot healthier, and Liver King wouldn't be quite so rich.
Fucking great answer. I love that answer, Tim, honestly. Yeah, because as you said, I think a lot of people will tell you like, but Tim, but I am tracking. And then you're like, are you really? What do you mean by tracking? You just mean like, well, yesterday I slept pretty good and the day before I didn't. And it's just like, I mean, and again, and also, is an Oura ring a cool thing that you can use to track, and it's a great little gadget? Yeah, for sure. But hey, you can just take a piece of paper and a pen and just write it down. You could write down what you ate before bed, how you slept, how you felt in the morning. Free. That's free. You don't have to do shit. You know what I'm saying? Sort of. And same thing with food. I ate this, I felt bad. I ate this, I didn't feel as good. I got this, bad digestion. It's free. You don't have to do. And then you can maybe slowly dip your toes into some of the gadgets that help you do that. But I love that answer, man, honestly, because so many times people would just recommend such an expensive thing. And again, at the same time, I do believe that most people, especially if they live in America, can afford a lot of these things just because, they spend money on stupid shit all the time. Yet, at the same time, they don't have to. They can do a lot of this tracking and experimenting on themselves for free to start out, and then see how it goes from there.
It's funny. So, one, just to confirm your point on that about writing things down subjectively. If you write down how you feel on a 1 to 10 or a 1 to 100 on your energy every day in your diary, how well you slept on a 1 to 100 every day in your diary, what you've eaten, you can track quite well subjectively over a period of time. And it's funny because my brother didn't want to spend on an Oura ring. He's an accountant. He's a bit frugal, very frugal. He would moan about spending $2 on anything. Yeah. And but he was tracking down everything he ate, and he's a chronic migraine sufferer, so he'd get like 12 to 15 migraines a month, like insane stuff. But he would write down his food, and one thing that he found, and you're going to love this.
What's that?
He found that 48 to 72 hours after he had canola oil, rapeseed oil, or sunflower oil in anything, he had a migraine. Right?
There you go.
And his main trigger is that it's such a toxin for him and his body, and consistently, and it was must have been like 20, 30 times, 48 to 72 hours after he had any of those 3 oils that have been super high heat processed, is in fuck oat milk.
Oh!
Is in this stuff though, and people that are suffering with migraines, like my brother, and he's not the only guy on the planet that has this, are getting migraines days later. They don't even realize it, and if you just write it down simply, you can see this. Yep. You don't need any tech or spend any money for that.
Yep. So did he stop drinking oat milk lattes, or is he still drinking them? that's the real question.
He's having soy milk. He's super clean. He's basically carnivore these days, and it works very well for him actually.
Oh, okay. So this is not your vegan brother. This is another brother you got.
No, that's my. Yeah,
okay, because I was thinking, wait, so did he switch over? Oh, okay.
No. One's from the dark side, and one's with the force.
Yeah. I was gonna say you're trying to convert the other one, eh? Slowly, but sure.
You're not my brother. Yeah. So he's good actually with it, but it's just I think, and whenever there's some fitness guru saying, oh well, you can have sunflower oil, there's nothing bad with it, it's actually heart healthy and all this rubbish. It's like, do you actually know what it does to you? Do you actually understand what's in it? How it affects our bodies?
And and at the same time, again, I'm still, I still go to restaurants and eat out, and I know what's in there, and like you said, I let my hair down too. You can't be an obsessive little bitch about it either, because I'm really big on maybe teaching yourself to not be so fragile. It's nice to feel good all the time. But I also don't want to be the guy, again, like I said, that it's just like, oh my God, the wind blew in my left shoulder and it's just, I can't work out. That's it. I'm having a migraine or whatever, I just can't.
No, I agree. There is a fragile snowflake approach as well, and you've got to, balance these things up. For instance, when I was at my hyper alert, super ill stage, 8, 10 years ago, whatever, at that point, I was like, oh my God, I've got this twitch. oh no, I'm going to die. Like, there's something wrong. What is it going wrong today? You know, there's always something. And it's hyper alert with these things. And when you start letting go of it, it's like, actually, I didn't drink for 3 years. I didn't have any alcohol at all. But I so wanted to go out and just get pissed or like have a night out and just feel like it wasn't, you know, I was back to where I was before, happier, but not sick. You know, and one night I went out and I had 3 or 4 drinks or whatever. It wasn't bad. But I was walking home, wobbling down the road, like
a true Englishman.
It feels like, it's like, this is what it feels like. I love this. Like, I got better because I feel like my psychological health in terms of letting go and not being such a control freak about being hyper alert, being sick. Actually, I got better, and I increased significantly in the coming weeks as a result of just saying, I'm not going to be hyper alert and worry about everything like a little bitch the whole time.
Once every few months, right? Once every few months, you got to get fucking wasted. I come from an athletic background, so, you know, we used to, you know, train hard and all that, 6 days a week, all that kind of shit. And, you know, but then we had a rule that you got to get fucking wasted every few months. And honestly, there really is something about that, waking up and you're just so hungover, your head hurts, you threw up last night, whatever, but then you just kind of get up, get the day going, and then go work out, and boy, do you feel good. It's just sort of a cleansing effect. I'm a big believer in it. Again, not every week. I'm like, a lot of people get shit-faced every weekend. Of course, no, let's not do that, guys. I mean, don't recommend. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. But once every few months, right? It's fun to get shit-faced, hang with your buddies, not worry about life, and just let go.
Yeah. It's important. Very important, actually, yeah.
What about when you're in social events, though? Do you know, and let's say you have to have a couple of glasses of wine or whatever, you got to wine and dine, or you got to eat out, or you got to do something that you know is going to probably make you feel crappy because you've been doing it, say, too many days in a row or too many weekends in a row. Is there anything like specifically that you do preventatively, maybe to prepare for that night out, or you just kind of go with the flow?
So if I know I'm going to go out and have a couple of Negronis, and Negroni is my thing because it's pretty much pure alcohol. It's really high in bitters, so you don't get a hangover, and you feel great from it. And so it's very. I like the look of it. I like the taste of it.
It looks cool, doesn't it? With a little orange in there.
But apparently, it was designed by an alcoholic to get drunk really quick. Apparently,
it's maybe, I don't know. I know that the Italian guy invented it, and it wasn't even that colored yet, or something like that. The story goes that it used to be colored with like a certain specific type of bug that gave it that color, and then over time, obviously, people don't want bugs in their alcohol, so they started using, I don't know, I'm sure some sort of artificial thing, sad to say, but nonetheless.
It's Campari, Vermouth, and gin, isn't it? So
Campari is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It's basically got bitters, like the same as the Swedish bitters in it. This is what gives it the bitter taste. So actually, it doesn't spike my blood glucose much at all. I never get a hangover from it, and it tastes amazing. So I have the Negroni. If I have a Negroni, I don't need to prepare. If I have a glass of wine, I'll always take activated charcoal before, and I'll take, hypertonic or some. And
that's to kind of help pull out some of that stuff from your gut, yeah?
Yeah, just to draw the toxins through. Because like most people, if they drink too much, will have bad guts the next day. And that's just generally because the alcohol really does mess with the microbiome.
You know what really works for me when I know I'm going to get pissed drunk? Aspirin. Good old aspirin. Just a clean little aspirin. No additives in it. I take 2 of them before I go and get drunk. And significantly big difference, honestly. You just feel way better. Well, again, the type of alcohol, like, man, I mean, I'll have a beer, I don't know, a couple times a year probably. But beers is just like the worst thing to get drunk on. Wine is pretty bad. Any of the darker liquors, I think they'll fuck you up. Well, I think the gin, which is Negroni, right? You got vermouth. I mean, vermouth but it's just a splash in there. But gin, vodka, I think those are the best choices, honestly. Gin and vodka for as far as
for sure. Or biodynamic wine. For instance, some of the dry farm stuff I really like, just because it's so clean, low in sugar, lower in alcohol. It's not so toxic to the liver. And
is that the one that's based in California? I've had some biodynamic one, but is that the one? So it must be that one. I just don't remember the brand name. I've had
dry farm wines are the importers and distributors across the states. They're like success story in the biohacking space, really. Because great guys, great wine. They buy the best biodynamic from across Europe and ship it into America. So we get it in Europe, obviously a lot easier anyway. But they do a subscription model where you can have 6 or 12 bottles a month delivered, and all the superstars and everyone are drinking dry farm wines. It's very, like
dry farm wines. Yeah, like I said, that's the one. So you're saying they ship the grapes from Europe or what?
No. So they get the wine from the best growers across, but it's biodynamic, so it's natural, organic, biodynamic, which is very, very high standard for growing. It has various conditions. It's generally grown on soil which has rock below it, so the roots draw up the minerals in the roots into the grapes, so they're high in mineral content. They're not irrigated, so they don't have fake water, like tap water spraying on them to help them get bigger and more water. It actually comes from the ground, so that way you don't get the hangover because they're high in minerals. It's high in natural water. It's not so high in alcohol. It's like under 10 or 11%. And then it's not high in sugar at all, so it's not toxic to the liver when combined with the alcohol. So people feel great with it, actually. And so if I do have wine, it will always be biodynamic, and that's no exceptions, just because of the crap that they generally put in the wine.
I gotta pick some of that up out here. Like I said, I've had it before. But there's other ones you drink in Europe that are European brands, yeah?
Well, they just pick the best biodynamic wine from Europe and bring it to America, and then.
I see. So they just do a variety of. That's not the actual brand of the wine. Okay. I see,
exactly. But if you want to get the best quality, and they have their own approval ratings and standards for the wines, that it is the best stuff, regardless of of everything. So that's why I really like them, and they're great guys as well. Actually, they supplied the wine for my conference both years, even though they don't sell in England, just because they're in the biohacking space. It's part of where they grew quite quickly. They always look after Dave's conferences stuff and does the wine for him, and so they've been great advocates and really are about health.
Yeah, man. So I was just gonna ask you. I don't remember, but whatever. Listen. So when's the next? What is the name of your conference? What is the official name?
It's the Health Optimization Summit.
Okay, so when is the next Health Optimization Summit?
17th, 18th of June next year.
17th, 18th. And that's where?
Central London.
And you already have your speakers confirmed, or you have some stuff up there, or not really? You do?
No, we haven't announced them yet, but yeah, we have a load of speakers. So, for instance, Ben Greenfield's coming back again, which I loved your Instagram thing.
I can't wait to see his nipples. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Dude, do you know how much that made me laugh? Ben is an amazing human. I love that dude so much. He really is. Like, he is incredible. But that meme we did of him was just, I was crying.
Hey, I have fun with that. I don't take any of it too seriously, like I said. So you got your summit coming up in June. What are the dates again?
17th, 18th June.
17th, 18th in London. Anyone in particular that you're super excited about and having? I mean, everybody, I'm sure, but I mean, is there anybody new maybe that hasn't been to your conference or?
So Jim Quick, Jim Quick's speaking.
Quick.
So actually,
who's that?
So he's the mind dude about memory and speed reading and speed learning. So
very cool.
He's top notch. He's a really great guy as well. So I'm really, really excited for Jim to be here. And Ben's coming back again. Obviously.
Ben Greenfield?
Yeah,
rock and roll.
You should come, dude. You should come along. It's like, you realize how many UK fans you have from your
Hey, maybe, my man. I have some friends out there. Yeah, so maybe. Why not?
Come as my guest, man. Seriously, I'd love to have you. It'd be great.
All right, my brother. We'll make it happen then. It's June. Yeah, man. All right, let's do it. We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll make a good shirtless nipple a reel or something. I'm kidding. Okay.
Oh, check out my nipple. If whoever's watching this, if you haven't seen the meme that he did about Ben, you have to. It's brilliant.
Just having fun with it, but that sounds like a good time. And where can people find out? What's the website?
healthoptimizationsummit.com.
Easy
nice
peasy.
and easy.
And I'll tag you, of course, in the Instagram, and I'll tag the website of your summit. And yeah, my brother, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. That's a great time.
It was nice riffing with you, man. It was really good to speak face to face instead of just on IM for like we've been doing on Instagram for a while. So.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your time, and see you in London then. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, dude. See you soon.
All right, brother. Have a great one. Ciao.
Yeah.